Gentlemen, welcome to lesson number 3. So if you are having live classes, I do recommend that you not completely rely on this makeup lesson. So this is a video lesson number 3, and if you are taking live classes, try to make it because it does help you, and when other students have questions, they'll answer questions that you might not have thought of before. So today we're going to be learning about conjunctions, and we're finally going to introduce a particle called the iga, or the action-grabbing particle. And then we'll just be practicing how to yodify because sometimes it is a hard concept to grasp for many students, especially when it comes to the action grabber. But before we talk anything about that, let's just continue with the examples that we have and see if we can just refresh our memories real quick and practice a little bit. So here are the rules. Remember that if you do have an aux verb, then it'll always be at the end before the action verb. And then we also put the prepositions in front of the word it belongs to. And then we wrap the pronoun in parentheses before the verb because we want to know who is doing what, right? And all of this will come into fruition once we learn about the subject particle. So the first one, I will do it for you, and then the next couple ones you can do it. So the cup is on the table. So remember, the on is the preposition. In that case, on belongs in front of the table. So you can either do the cup, the table on it is, or the table on the cup it is. But I'm just going to say the cup first. So the cup, we're going to say the cup, and then the table on, and then it is. Yeah, parentheses. So the cup, the table on it is. So 컵이 상에, 상 is table. You don't have to know the Korean word because I don't expect you to know it, but I just want you to make sense of it. 상에, which is on, 상에 있어요. That's how it is. And so I'm going to perhaps do one more for you just in case. Let's see real quick. Perhaps I might not do this one for you, but I'll just tell you what the preposition is. So behind is a preposition here, and in is a preposition. Okay? So here's what you'll do. So try to complete these examples, and you can also download the PDF if you look at the bottom. So you can download the PDF, and you can just skip like this and look back. So once you do one answer, look back. Is it correct? Okay, move on to the next. Look back. Is it correct? Okay, then move on to the next. Or you can also just, if you're confident in doing this, you can just do all of these examples. And then once you're done, you can look back. Are they correct? And if so, you can continue. But for now, pause the video, and try to do it by yourself real quick. And then unpause when you are done. So pause the video and do the exercises. Okay, so I am assuming that you've done the exercise. So remember that at is a preposition here. So I will say Kara, gym at, she is. And the garden in is a preposition. The flowers, they are. And the food, the fridge in, milk behind. So remember, prepositions always kind of give you the position of a location of a noun, or maybe even the time frame, right? After, behind, in, inside, with, from, at, to. So in is a preposition. It belonged to the park, so the park in, the lake around, his dog with, jogging he is. All these prepositions just belong in the front of the word. And the restaurant, delicious food, at night, 밤에 만들어요. Or 밤에 해줘요. And the store too. To is a preposition. My friend with, work from, going I am. Her exam for, library in or inside. Classmates with. All of these are prepositions. Just place them in the front of the word and you'll be fine. And then make absolute sure that you put the pronoun here in parentheses. Because we don't actually say this pronoun, right? But it is useful for something. We will be going over this in a couple of minutes, but make sure you put the pronoun in parentheses here. Now I put it in parentheses because we're not actually saying it, and it's not actually there, but it is meant for something. So make sure to put this here. Now the park in, his son with work after walking he was. Right? All of these are prepositions. So we just put it in front of the word it belongs to. And there are the rules. Okay, so the contents of the presentation. Intro to Oxford with action verbs. We have already done that, but we're just going to go a little bit more into it. Then conjunctions. So conjunctions act like any other sentence that you see in the English language. For example, if you go do something like this, if you say something like, I will meet Tom and go home. Well, the conjunction is over here, and it's separating two ideas, right? I will meet Tom and go home. So this is exactly how it works in Korean too, except remember, verbs are at the end of the sentence. So the verb will be attached to the conjunction like this, and then you'll start yodifying here too. So basically what will happen is you'll yodify this, and then you'll end up with the verb here, and then you put the conjunction here. It could be and, but, despite, so on. And then you'll yodify the second part of the sentence. So don't let conjunctions confuse you. It may be overwhelming if you see such a long sentence, but separate it with the parentheses and then just yodify it, and you're fine. And then the intro to subject particle. So this is important. Sometimes it takes many learners or students perhaps months or even years to understand this. So do not be so pressured to learn it right away. So the subject particle, iga, and how we use it to create pronouns to signal to the verb or to signal to the reader or listener that someone or some noun is doing the action. And then we'll use those rules to yodify once more. So here are the rules. If a noun ends in a consonant sound, it will end in E. So you will attach E onto it. Or in other words, E, like this. Okay, so if you don't know Hangul, just make sure to go over the lessons for the Hangul reading lesson or the Hangul writing lesson. Do lessons 1, 2, and 3, and you'll be fine. And then this is the vowel sound ending noun. Okay, so if a noun ends in a vowel sound, I say vowel sound because it's not a vowel. We're not looking for words that end in a vowel. We're looking for words that end in a vowel sound or a consonant sound. I'll tell you what I mean in a little bit. So if it ends in a vowel sound, we'll use ka to attach it onto the noun. So that's ka. Oop. Okay, so for example, if I want to say something like this, Penny is cute, right? Then if I wanted to attach this, Y is not a vowel, right? Because in the English language, Y is A-E-I-O-U. But it does have a vowel sound, which is A-E-I-O-U. Y does have a vowel sound. So in that case, we will do penny, ka, over here. And that's it. So penny, ka. Penny is cute. penny가 귀여워요. Now, penny, that doesn't mean is, but it means she. It turns it into a pronoun. She is cute. Okay, so let's do another one. If I say something like 곰, right? 곰, which is G-O-M. And what does M end in? It ends in a consonant, and it also sounds as a consonant, right? M, so 곰, and then E. Or, in other words, this 곰, E. So we will attach this to the noun, right? So it'll look like this. So 곰 means bear. 곰. And then if I attach the particle, it'll be like this. So you're essentially adding it on. You're literally combining it into that noun so it becomes one word. And more on this later on, but I just want you to know. Consonant sound ending, E. Vowel sound ending, ka. Okay. So, action verb and aux verb and then conjunction. So conjunction with multiple verbs. So far, we learned to place verbs at the end no matter what, but that's just with one sentence. But what if we come across a conjunction in the sentence with more than two verbs? If you have a conjunction in the sentence, treat the sentence that comes before the conjunction as one separate sentence with the parentheses if you'd like, or a comma. And then we must also combine the last verb into the conjunction. So remember, we always place the verb at the end of the sentence no matter what, right? So in this case, when you say, I am going to the mall, let me just delete this real quick. So if you say something like this, I am going to the mall, and that's a conjunction, my sister is walking to school. Now you can see that it's actually two micro sentences, right? Or two micro phrases. I'm going to the mall, and my sister is walking to school. Now I'm just going to yodify this real quick. The mall to going I am. That's one. The mall to I go amming, or the mall to going I am. And then you put the conjunction here. Same, right? Because you're separating two different ideas. And then you'll you'll separate this with parentheses, and you say my sister, school to, walking she is, or she walk isn't. And that's pretty much how you do it. So if you have one sentence, and then you have the second sentence here, and then you have a conjunction, just separate into parentheses if it's a little too overwhelming for you, and then yodify it that way. And then the conjunction will remain here in the middle. So yodify, conjunction, yodify. First, what are conjunctions? They join sentences unlike this man who is single. He looks very lonely, right? He's got a nice beard though. It looks fluffy. All right. So here's the rule that we have to know. Regardless of if they are subordinating conjunctions or regular conjunctions, they will always join the sentence with the verb. They will join the sentence with the verb. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me tell you something. So if it is a subordinating conjunction, in the English language, when we use things like although, or even though, or while, or since, or when, we sometimes use this in the beginning of the sentence, right? Like when Tom was younger, when Tom was small, or when Tom was younger, or although she is smart. And then you can keep continuing, right? As long as you have a comma. Although she is smart, when Tom was younger, comma, something, something. And you'll notice that the conjunctions are in the beginning of the sentence. But in English, but in the Korean language, we do not do that. So what we do is we actually put it here. When or although. It might be a little bit weird for you, but conjunctions are conjunctions in the Korean language. They're not treated any differently. So for example, let me go over something real quick. What are the conjunctions that we do use to put them in between the sentences? And, or, but, so, yet, for, nor, as, either, neither, not, only, also, right? Because maybe we do use also in the beginning of a sentence. Rarely do we ever. But we do use and, or, but, so, yet, only in the beginning of the sentences. Not in the beginning. Only in the middle of the sentence. We squeeze it in there. I like ham, but she likes bread. And now, this is in the middle. This is exactly how the Korean language treats it. Except, the subordinating conjunctions are also treated as regular conjunctions as well. So you never put the conjunctions in the beginning of the word. We will always put it right smack in the middle when we have to kind of connect two separate ideas, or two different ideas, whether it's contrasting or there are similarities. So let us go down and see which exercises we can do. So over here, it is a conjunction exercise. So I have bolded out the conjunctions for you. Remember, all conjunctions belong in between. Okay? I like Korean food, but I never went to a Korean restaurant. Okay, so this is a conjunction, so I'm going to underline this, and I'll separate the sentence into two micro sentences or two micro phrases. I like Korean food. That's one micro phrase. And then I never went to a Korean restaurant. Okay, and those are two sentences. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Korean food I like. I'm going to put that there, parentheses, I like. But, then I'm going to put but over here. But 좋아하는데 한 번도 never a Korean restaurant. That's number 2. I went, to a Korean restaurant, and then to is a preposition. So a Korean restaurant. 2. I went. Right? So I'm going to speak in Korean just so that it makes sense for you guys. You don't have to know what it means, but just follow along. So when I say Korean food, 한국 음식 좋아하는데, but 한 번도 never a Korean restaurant to 한국 식당으로 한 번도 한국 식당으로 안 가봤어요. I went. Yeah. I never tried going, or I went. Yeah. So that is pretty much how it is. Now, what I want you to do is pause the video real quick and see if you can do this. So remember what we have to do. We'll have to first, make the preposition in front. So put the preposition in front of the word. And we'll have to also put the conjunctions in between, right? And separate these sentences. Don't let it overwhelm you. They're just micro sentences. And then yodify it. So I will give you about, this is not a live class. So just pause the video. And then when you're done, remember, you can also just do one answer at a time. Then flip down and then go back up. Do one answer at a time. Do over here. And then go back down and then look up. Or if you're confident, then you can just do the whole thing and then pause the video and then scroll down. So pause the video real quick and get the answers, then we'll continue. All right, so here are the answers. Most of them were pretty easy, but we have but, and so is a conjunction, but, and. Now, kimchi fried rice and mandu I had, and after that they were both great. Now, I put after that over here because in the English language, we also do something like this. It is pie and pizza. In this case, we're just trying to join the two ideas, right? But sometimes we do this. I went home and I ate food. Now, this is not just joining it, but it's also telling the person what you did after you went home. So that's why I put this here. In the Korean language, when we also say and, you can also say, it also means, and after that, I ate food. So that's all it means. We also do that in the English language, so you shouldn't have any trouble understanding that. So I went home, and after I went home, I ate food. That's all it means. And then my friend and I, kimbap ordered, and tasty it was. More food we wanted, order we wanted, but too full we were. And then they were out of kimchi, and so on. This is all pretty self-explanatory, but I guess this one was the one that may have thrown you guys off, even though, remember, even subordinating conjunctions act as just regular conjunctions. So in the beginning, I put this here, and I wanted to trick you guys. Even though it was hot outside, I still like the hot pot soup with beef and vegetables. Remember, we don't treat subordinating conjunctions any differently. So this one should have been here. It was hot outside, even though I still like the hot pot soup with beef and vegetables. And then we go back. Hot outside it was, even though the hot pot soup with beef and vegetables still I liked. Yep. So if you got that, pat on your back. If not, try to do the sentences over again and see if you can get it correctly. Now we're going into the aux verb / action verb, and this is what we call the 이, 가 particles. And this is what we did with the consonant and vowel. So particles are a waiting game. They function as markers or symbols even, right? Symbols are markers. Basically something that'll let the reader or listener know that, hey, I'm doing the action. And it indicates the grammatical function and relationship of words in a sentence, such as subject, object, or indirect object. There is an object particle, and there is a subject particle. The subject particle is all we need to focus on right now. So in this lesson, we will only go over the subject, which we have been practicing in the parentheses. Now, the subject marker turns a noun into a subject. And in English, when we turn a noun into a subject, we actually make it a pronoun. Therefore, the subject claims the verb, which we have been practicing in the parentheses. So everything, all of this will come into light and come into fruition of what we're talking about. And this is just, if it's something, use E for words that end in a consonant sound. So if it's human, I have an N here, so it'll end in E. And ka for words that end in a vowel sound. So if it's teddy, even if it's a Y, even if it is a Y, it still ends in a vowel sound, so we will use ka. Now I'll tell you what I mean in a little bit. I'll tell you right now what I mean when the subject turns into a pronoun. So for example, we always do this in the English language, but we're not really conscious of it. We say, I went home, she did it, or we left it, and so on. Well, why wouldn't you say me went home, or her went home, or us left it? Because this is the object form of the pronouns that we use in English, right? Me, her, and us. So you wouldn't use this if in the beginning of the sentence, because in the English language, when you do something in the beginning, you need to use the subject form of the pronoun, which is I, she, we, or you, or let's see, he, or they. And you would not use the object, right? Because these guys are doing the action. I went home. She did it. We left it. Now, if you were to use the object form of the pronoun, then you have to put it here at the end. I went to her. Or she did it, I guess, right? She did it. That's the object in this case. We left them. And that is the object form of the pronoun. And that's exactly what it means. We are going to be focusing on this today. So make sure to know that the subject version of a pronoun is I, she, we, he, they, and so on. Alrighty. So we're just going to do an example real quick. This is going to be an exercise. So, for example, I'll just give you the first 5 for free. So, for example, remember this is ending in a vowel sound. So you will, remember, vowel sound, you will use ka. So if something ends in a vowel sound, you just pick ka. If something ends in a vowel sound, pa, ka. Ends in a vowel sound again. This is an H, but remember, we don't care about the letter. We care about the sound, O. Does O have a vowel sound? It does. So it'll still be ka. We don't care about what letter it ends with. We care about the sound it makes. And no is ka. Iam. Iam is an M, so it's a consonant. It's a consonant, and it's also a consonant sound, so we'll choose E. And that's exactly what we're doing. So pause the video real quick, take a look at the examples and, take a look at the rules if you need to, and then unpause the video and do the rest of these exercises and see what you get. Yes. And we are scrolling down. Now here is another example. Here's another exercise. And do not worry, we're going to go over all the answers in a few. But let's say we say something like kettu. In Korean, we say 고양이. So, but in this case, we have kettu, and I told you all the sounds that it ends with. So I'll do the first 5 for you for free, and then you can do the rest. kettu, is a vowel sound, so we'll use ka. kettu가 table. So table ends in a L sound. I know you see an E here, but remember, Table ends in an L sound, so that's a consonant sound. table 이. 부크, 부크 ends in a 가. And you don't have to learn how to speak Konglish. I'm just making this easy for you guys. And phone ends in E, ends in a consonant sound. I know it ends in a vowel, but it ends in a consonant sound. 폰, 폰. So it's E. And R ends in a consonant, but remember, 기타. We don't have an R sound in Korean, so 기타, 기타가. Okay? And pretty much I've showed you all the... You do not need to know how to speak Konglish. You do not need to know how to speak like me, like 기타, 폰, table, or 도구. We just want to know what the ending is, okay? And then look at the letters and then see what you get. So pause the video real quick and see what you get, and come back down when you're done. Okay, so yeah, everything is pretty self-explanatory up to so far. So 가, 가, 이 오션이, mountain이, 산이, flower. So 와 ends in a vowel sound, so it'll be ka, and so on. And all of these are bold, and the bold ones are the answers. Now, the iga particle. What is a subject? Remember when we talked about the subject particle or subject pronoun in the English language? John, he, right? Because John is a boy or a man. My mom, she, because she is a woman or a girl, a woman. And my boyfriend, he, or those people, they, and so on. And that's exactly what it is. So, for example, if I say something like Emily, or someone like Emily, then obviously she is a she. If I say James, then it'll be a he. If I say Olivia, then it'll be a she. If I say William, it'll be a he. If I say Sophia, then it'll be a she. And that is exactly what it means when I do this. 가, James 가, 올리비아가, 윌리엄이, 소피아가, and this, all of these, so it could mean so many different things, right? Maybe not so many, but that's basically what you're doing. You're turning them into pronouns, and you're referring to them twice. And I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. You're referring to them twice. And here are the inanimate objects. So a cat and a dog might not be inanimate, so it could be he or she or it's, right? It's. It can be it. It can be it. But when you say something like, it is cold or it is warm, then it is a subject. But you can say something like, I hit it. And when you say, I hit it, that it at the end of the sentence, I hit it. So this is an object. And you can't really differentiate between it when, it can be a subject and an object at the same time. So I'd rather you use something like it's, because we never use it's at the end. Yeah, so it's, and it's, and so on. So take a moment to pause the video real quick and see what pronouns you can get for all of these. Take a moment, all of it, and then once you're done, unpause it, and then scroll down. Okay, so I just want to let you know for the first part, I provided the object pronouns here just to make sure that I let you know that we are not going over the object pronouns. So this is what we are not doing. So if you see this, just forget about it. You don't have to understand it. More than not understanding it, I'm just letting you know that this is not the ones we are using. It is the subject pronouns. So if you got all these right, that is correct. Father, he, and then I would have tried to put it's over here. That was my mistake. It's, and so on. It's, and it's. Yeah. So brother, he, grandfather, he, grandmother, she, and so on. So these are all the subject forms of a noun. Okay? So how is it advantageous to mention someone twice, right? Because when you do this, Emily, she, you're mentioning her twice, right? When you say James, he, you're mentioning him twice. When you say Olivia, she, you're mentioning her twice. So it's kind of like this. When you say grandmother, she, you're kind of saying grandmother, comma, well, you are. You're saying grandmother, comma, she, blah, 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 blah. So you're mentioning her twice. Do we do that in the English language too? Sometimes when you say she is the one who does it, something like that. So the subject particle marks which noun is doing the action. That's pretty important. So when we attach the particle onto the noun, it marks which noun is doing the action. So the subject is mentioned twice to be extra objective with speaking in short sentences, or intentional or objective. So who is going to the mall? If someone asks you, who is going to the mall? Would you be neutral or would you be intentional? So for example, if you say something like, my mom is going to the mall, you wouldn't really say that, right? Because that's a neutral tone. My mom is going to the mall. You would probably say, my mom, she is the one who is going to the mall. Very intentional. You're telling someone, who is it? It's my mom who is the one who is going to the mall. And that's when you have E. So you've actually attached it to my mom, E, going to the mall. Now in Korean, when we say mom, we say 엄마, and then we say ka, that's the particle. But in this case, we had M over here, and I don't want to confuse you guys, so my mom, M ends in a consonant, so we'll just put E for now. E, which is this. So my mom, she is going to the mall, and that is exactly what it means. You're referring to her twice as a pronoun. My mom, she is going to the mall. Now, when the sentences get longer, however, the objective tone, the objective/intentional tone of the sentence disappears and merely changes it into a pronoun. It changes it into a pronoun because you want to know who is doing what, right? Because when you have multiple subjects and you're talking about multiple subjects and multiple objects, sometimes it's very hard to keep track of who is doing what. And that's when you use these particles. Now, when you go into long sentences with conjunctions, the intentional tone or the objective tone disappears. Remember that. So you will be using this quite frequently. Particles, you will use particles very frequently. Remember that. So let's just try doing this real quick. Answers, let's just do this real quick. And, okay, so let's just do this real quick. Do the example. I'm going to do the first one for you for free. I usually charge $500,000, but today I'll do it for free. So remember, catch the conjunction first, but over here, well, I'll just underline that. And Sarah's going to the park with her friends. That's sentence 1. And then she forgot to bring her water bottle. Okay. So Sarah is going to the park with her friends. So we have with her friends here, to the park here. And then Sarah here. So Sarah. And then what do? We put ka, right? Because Sarah is the one. And then Sarah, the park to her friends, or I'll just say friends with. Going, she is. And we'll stop right there. Now watch. I'm going to make this ka, and I'm going to make this yellow she. Now, once you put this particle here, this is the one. Sarah is the one who is claiming it. Claiming that verb. Right? Or, yeah, she is claiming that verb for going. So I have it right here, but she's claiming what's going to happen here. She's claiming what's going to happen over here. She's claiming the verb. So that's why I wanted you guys to put it in parentheses. Now, we don't actually have this here, but in Korean, we put it over here. So Sarah, she, the part 2, friends with, going, she is. And that's what you're marking. You are marking who is doing what. Sarah is the one who is going to the park with her friends. So now, once you get better, you don't even need to put this here. You just need to know that once you put this here, you are marking it. And you're telling the person or the reader or the listener that, hey, she is the one doing the action. And then when you do, she forgot to bring her water bottle, you can just say her water bottle forgot to bring, or to bring forgot, she did. And that's so on. So you do not need, so I did do here, she. Now you only need to put the subject over here once, right? You only need to put the subject particle over here once. And now it's kind of like PEMDAS in a way. It's kind of like doing distributive property of math, where it distributes the verb to all of it, right? Unless I change the subject. So what about, for example, if I said and, right? And I didn't put John, then it would still be she and she. And if I just made this whole sentence very long, which often does happen, then it'll be she. Because I never marked John here, right? So it'll just be she. But now I've introduced a new subject and a new topic, and now John E, that subject, is claiming that verb. It's a distributive property where you distribute that particle. So he and he. Okay. And if I slipped his mom in here, let's say I slipped the mom with the particle, then now this will become she because she claimed that verb. So you're distributing it. So take a moment to pause the video real quick and I want you to slip it in. So every time you do it, make sure to start with the name first. Start with these names first. Then slip the particles in here. Okay? John, in this case, it'll be E, or it's a little light. Let me just change that real quick. In this case, it'll be E or E. And then you're going to slip that in there. Then you will continue with the rest of the yodification. So pause the video real quick, and then we will go to the answers. Okay, so when we begin, or when we do the yodification, it's pretty much the same thing. We use ka, Emily ka, and Emily ka, her parents. Excuse me, one second. Emily is meeting her parents at the airport. So her parents at the airport vacation to meet Ising. Or remember, this is she is meeting. And vacation for to Korea, flying, they will be. And Emily is meeting her parents and they will be flying to Korea. And yeah, we really didn't need to put the thing over here because we already knew she was meeting her parents. And when we say they will be flying they will be 갈 거예요. We already knew that they would be flying. Let's see. 마크가 his teammates with, that's a preposition. Playing. Remember, I didn't mark the he now. I didn't mark the he because I've just put it at the end over here. But yeah, so I can mark it with every verb that I see. So for example, he has a cold. That's marking once. And then he over here, he is playing. But we don't need to do that anymore because we know that it's being distributed to all the verbs. These verbs all belong to him because he has this particle. So these verbs belong to him. His teammates with basketball, he is playing, or he playing. Although a cold, he has. Jennifer가, her colleagues with, the restaurant at. And I put the pronouns here. So in this case, I do show you that it is being distributed. So remember, she, okay, so she over here, distributed once, distributed twice. If I make the sentence even longer and I don't introduce this, then it'll just be her doing what, and her doing what, and her doing what. Always Jennifer. And David got his family with the beach too. He is driving. Yep, over here. He is doing the thing. So if I said something like mom, then it will be she. Okay? And then it will be she. But remember, what I want you to know is I put these in parentheses because these words don't actually exist. I just want you to know that it is claiming it. It is claiming the verb. So it's not being said 4 times. Jennifer is not being mentioned 4 times. There's once here, once here, once here, once here. No, that's not it. She's just being mentioned twice. When you get more comfortable, you can just delete these out of your life, just like your ex-boyfriend. And now you have left with Jennifer, she. She's just being mentioned twice. And then Jessica got school too, walking while her phone on, missed music, listening she is. And that is the end of the lesson. So try to do the homework for this lesson and see what you get. And remember to put the ka on there this time. And if you can, make sure to put the settings on your keyboard to Korean so that you can start typing in Korean right away. You don't need to be typing in Korean all the time, but at least try to get the ka in Korean. So ka is like this. Remember, it's a gun, and then that's ka. And then e is like this. For anything that ends in a consonant sound, use this. For anything that ends in a vowel sound, use this. Attach it to a noun, and then it'll be doing the action. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, remember, you can also come to extra session extra session help on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then you can also, message either Miss Michelle or Ivy or me or Eva if you need help with anything in regards to, your account or anything else. And you can also ask me if you have any questions about the homework, or I do definitely recommend that you try to ask Eva or Miss Michelle. But yes, you can always ask me if you'd like. Have a wonderful rest of the night, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.